Good morning, everyone, and good afternoon for you folks on the East Coast. And welcome to Geeks On Tour.
Episode 7. Wow.
Okay. Is everybody seeing this okay? It's an educational show about smartphones and tablets with Geeks On Tour. Okay.
And we are coming from you with no electricity once again. Amazing what you can do in this lifestyle. Just turn on the generator and we can do this from wherever we are. So where are we, Jim?
Gosh, it's hard to tell. We're in Oregon somewhere. Let me see if I can get this screen share going and find out where we are.
Okay, yeah, we actually made reservations, which we rarely do, which means we should have had power, but something got messed up and we had reservations for a tent site.
And we don't live in a tent.
We don't live in a tent, no. So we are in a grassy field in a Thousand Trails Park in Bend, Oregon. We woke up to 39-degree weather yesterday. I couldn't believe, and it was in the high 80s by the afternoon. The range of temperatures here is pretty amazing.
Okay. Well, anyway, I'm Jim, and together with my wife, Chris, who's just been talking, we are the Geeks on Tour. Do you think your smartphone is smarter than you? Do you have questions about your Android or iPad tablet? How do you learn about these amazing devices? The best way to learn about anything is to teach it to others, and we're the Geeks Who Teach. We're into lifelong learning and helping others learn technology along the way. Here, I need to show you this. Can you see that?
Oh, yeah.
My smartphone thinks I'm an idiot.
Is that an ID10T error?
Yeah, it's an ID10T error. Okay.
So we have a guest with us today. David, say hi and tell the folks why you're here.
Hi, everybody. I'm a big fan of the Geeks on Tour, and they asked me to give them a hand this morning, so I'll be looking at comments, and if anything comes up that's interesting, I'm going to go ahead and let them know about it.
And tell them where you are.
I'm in Coarse Gold, California, just about 25 miles south of Yosemite National Park. We're in an escapee co-op here in Coarse Gold. We have a site here.
Okay, and we are missing not having you up here in Oregon because we're going to the FMCA rally next week, and we are very accustomed to having your smiling face in the front row of our seminars. We will miss you, and so glad that you could join us in this hangout.
Thank you.
Okay, here's where we were last week in Albany, Oregon, and here's where we are this week in Sun River Bend, Oregon, and like Chris said, we're headed up to Redmond real soon. Okay.
So you ready for our beginner's lesson?
Yeah, we're going to do this thing try to be organized as much as we can. It's not always easy. So Chris will start with a beginner's lesson, something that's important for beginners to know, and she'll do a feature. I think she's doing something with her Galaxy S5. I'll do an app of the week, and we'll probably have a random tip in there, and then we'll make sure that we answer some questions. So ask your questions in the comments, and we'll try and get to them. The show was always recorded, and you can see the reruns on our website.
Yes, if you just go to geeksontour.com, you will see a menu item now. I just built that yesterday that says weekly show, and everything you need to know will be there. Okay,
news from around the industry. First, a billion passwords were hacked by some folks over in Russia. What's that all about?
It doesn't sound good. But the point I wanted to make, and that you and I talk about all the time, is that passwords are passe, if you will. A password, even a very complex one, doesn't protect you anymore. So if you have an account that you really want protected, we highly recommend turning on two-step verification, and we have articles about that on our website.
Okay, let's get into the beginner's lesson, and Chris, take it away.
Okay, so what I'm going to talk about today is the keyboard that just pops up on your screen. Oh, hello, Judy. I see that Judy has joined the session, and Catherine Tracy and David. All right, so this week is keyboard, and let me switch over to my other device here. And we're going to start with the iPad. So, are people seeing that?
Looks good.
You should be seeing the iPad. And this is meant to be for beginners, so I'm going to start with the very beginning of how the keyboard works, but I'll throw in a couple of fancy tips just to whet your appetite of why it's important to keep learning. So I'm just going to go into the messaging app on the iPad, and I want to type a message. How come I have no keyboard to type with? Well, for the keyboard to appear, all you need to do is have your cursor in a place where they're supposed to be typing. So if I just tap right down here, now I have a blinking cursor and the keyboard has appeared. So probably the most common message is, "Where are you?" And now, how do I get that question mark? Well, it's on the top part of the key, so Shift and question mark, and send. Now, what if I need for that to disappear, or there might be things showing that the keyboard is covering up? Has that ever happened to you? One technique is just to turn your device vertical. Now there's more room for your screen and as opposed to the keyboard. So that's a good little tip to know. Just when you turn it horizontal, the keyboard actually is bigger for your fingers, but it takes over more of your screen. But now there's another thing to know. If you want to get rid of the keyboard altogether, that is this little keyboard button in the lower right-hand corner. You just tap that, and the keyboard goes away. How do you get it back? You tap in the field where you need to type. So there you go. Now let me try typing something else. I want to type, "We have been RVers for 11 years. So I type "we" and a space, "have been RVers." Now look how it automatically auto-corrects it to a capital R, but that's not good enough. I want a capital R and a capital V. So I'm going to backspace and type Shift R, Shift V, and then ERS for, now how do I get a number? 11 years I want to type. You need to tap on the number there and 11, and then back to text and YEARS, and I'll send that. And now, though, I want to show you one of those little tricks. Or no, first about autocorrect. Autocorrect, let's type something a little more complex. So I'm looking at Jim and saying, you know, that mustache is getting just a little bit. So I'll say, "Hey, sweetie." Now, the last time I did this, it tried to correct it to something else. You know, it kind of learns. "Hey, sweetie," and a comma, "your mustache." Let's say I don't know how to spell mustache. And it comes up with joust. No, I don't think so. ACH. And noose tack. Now, if I wasn't paying attention and I just press a space now, whatever is in the autocorrect is what gets put in the sentence. But I'm going to be smart and not do that. but it still says joust ache. If I press space, I get joust ache. So that's no good. What do? Mustache. Aha, now it came up with the right thing. So as soon as you see the correct word in the autocorrect, you can stop typing it. You press the space, and it puts in there whatever was in the autocorrect. But notice it's still red underlined. That means that this is not the correct spelling. So I tap the red underlined word, and it says, nope, there's no O, that's just a U. I can tap that. So your mustache needs trimming. And send. All right, so autocorrect obviously is something you have to be a little bit, pay attention to what it's saying. Now for a little trick. If you have an iPhone or an iPad, I have seen a lot of people be really good at just typing with their two thumbs. If you do that, you might want to use the split keyboard. If I touch and hold or long press on this little keyboard button, notice there is a split. Now I can, hey, sweetie, cut that thing. Oops, I got that wrong. Now, if I type a period now, though, it's going to put in the autocorrect, which in this case is a good thing. And send. So there's a little trick with this thumb keyboard, split keyboard, and you don't even have to use that keyboard button. You can just drag the keyboard, the space bar, back together. But notice it's still not down at the bottom, so I am going to use this one. That's called docking. So to split it apart, you can put two thumbs on the space bar and drag apart. To put it back together, two thumbs on the space bar and put them back together. So that's kind of handy. But there's even an easier way.
Oh, of course there is.
To do anything. Whenever you see this little microphone, it means that you can talk and dictate to the device. So I'm going to tap on there. We've been RVers for 11 years now. If you go to our website at geeksontour.com, you can find out all about it. And you tap done, and it listens to what you said, and it tries to transcribe it. It usually does it a lot faster than this. Of course. I intentionally said quite a few words there to, all right. Doesn't look like it's going to get there.
Chris, while you're waiting for that, Babette Blanche wants to know, how do you feel about using stylus with tablet?
Okay, thanks. Well, there it did. We've been RV years for 11 years now. Okay. Geeksontour.com and find out. So I need to make a little bit of correction here. I will talk, and yeah, good point. I should have gotten out a stylus. Styluses are great. Styluses are great, especially if you have trouble with the fingers. Now, to get positioned in the right place, if I long press at any place, now I can easily see where my cursor is going to be left off. So I want to put it right there. So I can backspace RVing and go to our website at geeksontour.com. Now there also I just need to delete a couple of spaces. And that's a good message. So there's settings, though. There's also settings that you need to be aware of. And here's a real trick, one cool setting is making shortcuts. So geeksontour.com, I might like to type that all the time. I made a shortcut, GOTC. Oh, come on. All right. it should have automatically converted to geeksontour.com. So let's go into my settings and see what I have wrong. Maybe it's the lowercase, TC. Huh? Not doing it. All right, so how do I get to settings? Press the home button, settings, and keyboard is under general and keyboard. And add a new shortcut. I guess I didn't get saved. So Geeks on Tour.com, and the shortcut is GOTC. And save. Maybe that's what I didn't do last time I did this. But notice there's all sorts of other settings in here. If anything I've shown you doesn't work like that on your device, come in and check your settings. Notice I have everything turned on. I also have a couple extra keyboards selected. Look at all, you can have any language. Chinese keyboards. Wow. Okay, so back to here. And GOTC. There. So it automatically autocorrects to geeksontour.com. All I have to do is type GOTC.
Wow, that's cool.
And there, oh, so fun stuff. How do you get one of those other keyboards? This little globe here. Long press on that, and here's, for fun, here's the emoji keyboard. So, and even in the emoji keyboard, you have lots of different options. So if you want a smiley face, you don't have to settle for the colon dash, and you can put a really nice smiley face in there. Then how do you get back to your regular keyboard? There you go. Oh, and there was one more tip I learned. Boy, has this been an experience of you really learn when you're going to teach. I didn't know half of these things I'm showing you before I started planning for today. And the one that I am absolutely going to use, when you need to type a number, isn't that a pain to have to go to 1, 2, 3, type your number, then go back so you can type your words? Well, here's a little trick. If you long press on the number key and just drag your finger up to the number you want, it will put in that number and immediately go back to the text keyboard. 341. But I'm still on the text keyboard. So that's a cool little tip with the iPhone and iPad keyboard. Okay. Are you ready for any questions, David?
Yeah, Cool Judy wanted to know what about the uproar about downloading Facebook Messenger app.
Yeah, we were talking about that. We were thinking about maybe mentioning that, but I think the uproar is much ado, well, maybe not about nothing, but it's definitely overblown. And we might write an article about that. But I have downloaded the Facebook Messenger app. Jim has not. So,
But I think I'm getting ready to do it. I did a lot of research on this Facebook Messenger app thing. And, yeah, it does want to have access to your device, but it needs access to your device. So you just really need to know that what it's asking for, it doesn't mean that it's going to turn your camera on and start looking around, or turn your microphone on and start listening to everything that's going on. Facebook's not going to do that. The NSA might, but Facebook just wants you to not have to deal with it every time you want to, say, take a picture and send it. You don't have to go through the rigmarole of saying, yes, I want to allow it this time. So those are the types of things that it's really allowing. And with Androids, you have to accept all of it or not use it. With Apples, you can have a little bit more functionality. You can choose what you want to allow and what you don't want to allow, and that's just one of the differences between Android and iOS.
okay. So now I'm ready to show you some keyboard, some of the same ways of using the keyboard, but on my Android Samsung Galaxy S5 phone. So same thing, and I'm just going to use my messaging app, which happens to be Hangouts, and a keyboard doesn't come up. So this works the same way as on the Apple. How do you make a keyboard come up? You just tap where it is that you need to type, and the keyboard appears. So where are you? And to get the question mark, you would need Shift, and that, whoops, that just gives me a capital. Okay. Then you have symbol. If you type on symbol, then you get all the symbols. But now I had trouble with that because I always use the shortcut for this, and that is to long press. If you long press on a key, you will get the upper, the symbol that's on the upper part. So long press on the M and I get the question mark. Now, if you want to make the keyboard go away, first of all, there's still the same technique of when you're in landscape mode, the keyboard is bigger for your fingers, but it takes up a lot more of the screen. So sometimes you need to turn it vertical just so that you can see more of the screen. But if you want the keyboard to go away on an Android device, that's one of the things that the back button is for. So back will make the keyboard disappear. Okay, so now let's try. We have been full time. Now notice how the autocorrect in the Android is just slightly different. It appears on this bar. So I made an error there. Notice what's in blue is the correct word. So if I just keep typing, it will be auto-corrected to the correct word, which is what it's supposed to do. And RVers. Now this has learned from me that I like to capitalize the R in the V. So that's going to auto-correct correctly there. And this is one thing I like about this keyboard. The numbers are there. I don't have to have any tricks or go into a different keyboard. The numbers are just there. 11 years. And send that. The special thing that I really love about the Android devices, and this comes, I don't think I had to change any settings for this to work in the Samsung Galaxy, and that is being able to swipe, or in this phone it's called Swift Text. So I don't have to tap on the W, tap on the E, I can drag over. We have been full-time RVers. So notice I am only lifting my finger in between words. For 11 years now. I love swipe. I can really, without it, I would never use my phone for typing emails. I just wouldn't. It's just too painful. I'll have a keyboard and actually do finger typing. But with this, I can get really good. So the time for everyone to learn how to use their smartphone. And I'm looking to see if there are any errors. The best defense against problematic autocorrects is you've got to read your message before you tap on send. We all have some really humorous and sometimes problem autocorrect issues, don't we? And on this one, if you want to do a smiley face, there's a little smiley face keyboard right there. And then what was a smiley face has turned into a little keyboard button to take you back. This is a smile. So what if your Android device doesn't work like that? You don't get the swipe. Well, settings. So I'm going to go into settings, and it's called language and input on here. So it's kind of a geeky term. Input meaning how do you input information into the device, like typing. And there we go. The Samsung keyboard is checked, and it is the default. The Samsung keyboard includes this thing called Swift Key. So that's what I was using. That actually, yeah, so keyboard swipe is part of the Samsung keyboard. But I also have swipe available to me here, and there's lots and lots of other options. You know, if you spend some time in here, you will be amazed at the things that you could do. So how would I use the actual swipe keyboard? I'm going to go back to my text messaging, and when the keyboard is up, there's an option in the top here to change to the swipe keyboard. And you'll notice that it is the swipe if it has that little orange S. And Jim has just informed me I am out of time. So well, we've gotten through all the basics. Oh, you can, just one last, you can, anytime you see a microphone. Now is the time for me to stop talking because Jim says I'm out of time. All right. So that is it for using the keyboard and dictating.
Okay, it's time for my app of the week. TV Antenna Helper Free is what I'm going to show this week. It uses your location to find nearby over-the-air digital TV and HD TV signals in the United States and assists you in choosing an antenna and pointing it in the right direction. Most RVers have one of these batwing antennas, so they're kind of directional, or they're very directional. So if you're pointed in the right direction, you're going to get a better signal. The information provided by the app includes TV signal strengths, compass bearings to the directions, distance to the signal towers, TV channel numbers, RV channel numbers, elevation and frequency bands. Your location is determined automatically by GPS or your network, but you can also put in a manually entered location. Your DTV, HDTV station data is downloaded from the Federal Communications Commission, and the app displays nearby TV signal information with a scrollable list displaying all the TV signals, or a compass that displays the stations at their correct heading from the current location, and a map. You can even see where those TV towers are. It is really, really cool. Let me show you some screenshots here if I can. Okay, so the one on the left there is the map. The one in the middle there is the list. And then the one on the right is kind of like a compass bearing, so you can move around and it will show you where those things are. It is a really cool app for those that travel, and if you need to point your antenna, we don't have a satellite dish for TV. We don't watch TV that much, so it's really a handy app to have. TV Antenna Helper Free. Chris?
Cool. And rather than showing you a specific thing on the Samsung Galaxy S5 this week, I just want to talk about how good the phone is. David, you have the exact same phone as I do, right?
I sure do.
Do you find that just the talking quality is really, really good?
It's the best cell phone that I've ever had for everything. Camera,
Yeah.
talking, the speakerphone. It's all just wonderful.
Well, I hate talking on the phone. You know, I don't talk on the phone hardly at all, but I realized that part of that reason is my only phone for the last 11 years has been a cell phone. And when I talk to people, it just doesn't sound very good. That has not been the case with this new phone. The people are so, and I get comments from them too. The person on the other side says, "Are you on a landline?" So just you know, we don't sell these things. Honest, it's hard to believe we don't sell them because we are such fans, but we don't. I just really love the Samsung Galaxy S5. Anything? Do you have a special your favorite feature on it, David?
No, I'm still trying to learn all of the functionality that's in it, and I personally am having a little trouble with the calendar function. I would like to learn. I'd like you to put on a session on how to use the calendar, set appointments and alarms and that sort of thing in one of your future broadcasts.
Okay. Well, we use Google Calendar. You know, we don't use the calendar app that came with it. We don't use the email app that came with it. We use the Google Calendar. But yeah, that would be it, because calendar is so useful. So useful. And yes, not always easy. Okay, do we have any questions from the audience there?
There's a comment from Richard Clarkson saying, I've seen it said that eventually it's going to stop the current messenger in the app and force you to use the new app. That's regarding the Facebook app. Judy Greinheimer says, thanks for answering my question, and she learned new keyboard tips. Tom Parks said that the show has paused and it just gets a rotating circle. Keith Cooper said it's a good idea to see a decent Compass app in conjunction with your TV app on the iPhone, and he's found TV towers to be very useful. And Bev Diaz says, how do I delete unused apps on the Samsung Galaxy 4?
Oh, yeah, she wrote that even before the Hangout started, and I wanted to address that. The current Messenger app, that's already happened. At least it was for me, I was forced. If I wanted to read a Facebook message on my phone, I had to download the Messenger, unless I wanted to go to Facebook on the browser. You know, on the Facebook app, messaging is gone, at least on my device.
Same thing.
Okay. Huh? You're forced to, or else go to your computer browser and you can still read it there. And yeah, we'll have an article, actually do a little bit of research and write on that. So, how to delete an app on an Android. Let me come over here. And let me turn this one off. Okay. So, I'll bet that she's referring to the fact that we've said on one of your home screens, if you want to get an app off of your home screen, you long press and then go up to remove. But that doesn't remove it from your phone. That was the geocaching app, right? I go to all apps and find geocaching. Oops, I didn't mean to actually open it. If you long press, then from your all apps, now uninstall is available. But I don't really want to uninstall it. And if your phone does not work that way, then in the system settings, you should find an application manager. And if you...
Top one.
Thanks. If you click on an app in here, you will have the option to uninstall. So that's the answer to that one.
Okay, Judy Reinheimer again says she has the Samsung S5, so it works well with her hearing aids.
Cool. Yeah. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah,
So
really is.
it uses the phone. The phone uses the hearing aids through Bluetooth, and we will do a session on Bluetooth one of these days, so that your hearing aids are your headset for the phone. That's way cool.
Yeah, and we saw that just last week.
We did. Somebody had a Windows phone, and we had to figure out how to get it to work with his hearing aids.
All right. Well, I think that's pretty much all of it. Did the interview? I know somebody learned something. I did for sure. So
I learned a lot.
So did I.
How do you make a keyboard appear?
Want to show that on the screen? Yeah, so how do you make a keyboard appear, guys, on your screen? You just tap on the area where you need to type. It appears when you need it. How does it know you need it? When your cursor is in an area for typing.
Okay, how do you make it disappear?
Now that's slightly different whether you're on Apple device or Android device. On the Apple, there's a little keyboard button in the lower right-hand corner. Tap that and it'll disappear. On the Android, it's the back button.
Okay, lots of settings for the keyboard. Where do you find them? On iOS.
On iOS, which means Apple operating system, it's in your settings. So logically, just in general, and keyboard. On the Android, it's not so intuitive. It is in your settings under language and input.
Okay, and how do you dictate a written message?
Is that cool or what? I mean, it does such a great job. Anytime you see the little microphone as a key on the keyboard, press the microphone and it will listen to you talk and it will transcribe what you say.
Okay, and what's the name of the app that tells you how to point your TV antenna?
That one's for you, Jim. I didn't listen to you. I don't know what you said.
TV Antenna Helper, and I have the free version. I forgot to mention there is a pay-for version. It's $1.99 on the App Store or in your Play Store, and that just gets rid of the ads and it helps the writer of the app. Become a member and learn more at geeksontour.com. What's all that noise?
Sorry, my wife
And
was
you
getting
will-
some ice.
You will find all the archives of the show at geeksontour.com as well. So what are we doing next week?
Gosh, I don't know. Pretty much the same. We're going to start with some beginning stuff. I haven't decided on what app I'm going to use yet, but we'll figure it out.
Unless I change my mind, the beginner's lesson is going to be on connecting to Wi-Fi, because we're going to be at the FMCA rally, and our friends from Wi-Fi Ranger have promised to set up a good Wi-Fi system, and people should be gone on Sunday. I'm hoping that the Wi-Fi system will still be up, and maybe that Kelly, right? That Kelly will be able to join us in the Hangout even and talk about Wi-Fi, and we'll show you how to connect your devices to a Wi-Fi hotspot.
Okay, that sounds great. Well, thanks so much, everyone, for watching. I hope it's been enjoyable to you, and I know it's been fun for me. Thanks again, David, for all of your help. We really appreciate you and all of our fans out there. But what do you have
I just want to keep on. Are you done?
Yeah.
I always want to keep on learning. So, hey, what does this button do?
Don't touch that button.